Hey guys, thank you to all the subscribers for coming back and supporting the channel. And if you're new here, welcome. So we are rounding off the second grade school year, and I feel like now I can talk about the curriculum we've used and what we liked and what we didn't like. So the first thing is writing for Minecrafters. Now this book I would say is definitely a supplemental book. It is not a full curriculum, but for a supplement it's pretty good. My daughter likes Minecraft, that's why we purchased this. And she really enjoyed this book. In this book, you will learn about grammar and writing and how to write opinion pieces, how to write detailed paragraphs, and, your basic grammar, verb, noun, adjective type stuff. As I mentioned, it's not a full curriculum, so this is something you really need to already know what these things are and how to teach it to your children. If you don't, you could always look up information online and use that along with this to help guide your child. It is reasonably priced and it does align with core standards, so what a second grader would learn in school. These are the things that are included in this book. And these are just some samples that I tore out from the book to put in her portfolio, so you get an idea of what kind of work kids will be doing in this book. And here is some grammar and some more grammar where they're learning plural nouns, and some sentence writing, including vocabulary. So for us, this book was a win. Next is Handwriting Learn Cursive. This is just your basic cursive writing book. This is not a full-on curriculum either. It does not teach you how to make the strokes, but I taught my daughter how to do cursive myself, and we started off with these cursive cards that I bought in first grade, and we used those also at the beginning of second grade. And then we went into this where she does the alphabet, and then it moves on to words, and then later sentences. And we've only gotten to the section with words, but she's doing really good. And as you can see, as we were going through, I would circle the letters that I thought she did a good job with, and then she would also circle letters that she thought she did a good job with. And then when we went into the word section, she was having trouble reading the words, and so I would have her trace the traceable word, and then I would actually go in and write the word myself in a different color, but I would write the letters separated. And so when they were separated, she had an easier time figuring out what the word said. And I told her she can either write the word connected or not connected, whichever way she wanted to do it. And slowly we worked from unconnected words to connected words, and so now she's doing all of her words where the letters connect to each other. Overall, this has been a really good book. She has learned how to write cursive, and surprisingly to me, she has learned how to read cursive, and she can read my handwriting, so I don't always write in cursive, but she can read cursive. So again, this is a good book. Next is Draw Right Now, and I used book 3 and book 5, and I used this for writing, but we also used it to incorporate into our history study. So both of these have history units in them, or history topics in them. The third book is about Native Americans and Pilgrims, and so we learned that at the beginning of the year. And then book 5 is more about like the Constitution and the colonies, and different things like the Statue of Liberty, which we learned later on in the year. And so this went really well. So we used both of these two books along with a writing journal. So all of the drawings that we would do in here, let me see this book. So all of the drawings that we would do from here, we would put into our journal. And she really enjoyed that because she likes drawing. My favorite thing about this book is the drawing aspect, but I also like how simple the author has made this curriculum. And so we would do copy work from here. And that's how we started off the year. But my daughter liked it so much that she just wanted to blast through both of these books. And then she got tired of doing it. Maybe not tired. She got tired of the copy work, but not the drawing. But we moved past copy work, and then I had her doing little book reports, narrative or story writing, informational writing, and of course along the way I showed her how to write a paragraph herself and how to add details. But overall, I would give this 2 thumbs up. Love this, and I'm a little bit sad that we won't be using this in the future. At least I don't think we will. And then this is just how her journal came out, and I just thought this was so cute to have all of her writing in one place, so that at the end of the year I don't have all these loose papers everywhere. And I just thought, it's a great, really fun thing to do. So next up is Explode the Code. We did 4, 5, and 6, and this was for our phonics practice and to help with reading. And I really have to give Explode the Code credit for helping my daughter to read. And at the end of first grade, she was almost to a level I reading, and level I, that is like your guided reading level. And by the end of second grade, your child should be around level M. And so she's almost there. She can read a level M book with assistance. But I say she's like around a level L right now. But she's doing really good, and I'm super proud of her. What I like about it is the kids get lots of practice. They learn a rule, a phonics rule, and then they'll have like 5 pages of practice on that phonics rule. And then in the middle of the book there's a review, and then at the end of the book there is also a review right before a test, because there is a test at the end. And so that helps you gauge where your child is at. Now, if your child needs more practice, they do have half books, so they have 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, and so on, and you can use those if your kid needs more practice. They also have Beyond the Code, which a lot of people have criticized this curriculum for not having decodable readers, but I think that Beyond the Code is supposed to be used as the decodable reader. And if you get the teacher's guide for Explode the Code, in that it'll say for levels, I believe 1 through 3, after you do the 3rd book, then you would use Beyond the Code 1, which is what we did. We did that over the summer last year. But what I didn't realize is with 4, 5, and 6, in the teacher's book, and I did look through the teacher's book throughout the year for these 3 workbooks, they just kind of spring it on you. They're like, do page such and such in Beyond the Code 3. And I was like, what? I didn't know we needed that book. You don't need the book to do the workbooks. It's just extra practice with reading and comprehension, and that's what Beyond the Code is for. But overall, really like Explode the Code. We're continuing with 7 and 8 for next year, and we've already started number 7. And I think this is a really reasonably priced phonics program. And some people will also say this is not a full phonics curriculum. Maybe what they mean is it's not a full ELA curriculum, but Explode the Code on their own website, and also if you check Rainbow Resources, it will say if you use the workbooks plus the teacher's guide, then it is considered a full phonics curriculum. That is what Explode the Code says. So I just wanted to put that out there. Speaking of decodable readers, I found this Guided Phonics and Beyond by Tara West, and we used the green book and the blue book. The blue book is the R-controlled vowels. They have a sixth book, which is purple, and that one does, I think, long vowel patterns, which I haven't purchased, and I don't know that I will. Anyhow, these are a bit pricey, so you may want to wait till they're on sale, but I do think that these are a good resource. I think they're great decodable books. You get 20 books, 20 decodable books in each book here, and so they have fiction and nonfiction, and I'll open them up and show you kind of what they look like. So this would be a fiction one, and then in the front they have the whole story, and then as you turn in they'll have the story with pictures, and the story's about 7 pages long. They also tell you what sight words you're focusing on, what sound you're focusing on, some vocabulary, and a little bit of comprehension. And then let's see if I can find a nonfiction to show you. So this is what the nonfiction looks like. It has real pictures, and I added some little grammar things to help my daughter jog her memory on some of the grammar, or excuse me, phonics rules that we've learned. And then on the back of the book, if you can see that, it tells you the skill that the child is learning, the high frequency word, and then it tells you which story is fiction and nonfiction. And so if you are working on a specific phonics skill, you can look here, turn to that decodable reader, and read that. And I really like that. And I love that it's spiral bound. They're all in one place. So whether you use it at home or you use it on the go, I love that they're all in one place. Okay, and then 2 books that we did not like, unfortunately. I have to say these were kind of a waste of money, and I hate to say that. We did try and use these, the Usborne Grammar and Punctuation. We used the wipeable Usborne Grammar and Punctuation, and we really liked those. This one is the same thing, but it's paper, so you would only use it one time. But we didn't really care for this one. We just weren't into it. We did learn some grammar and punctuation from this. I may bring this in again in May for some review. And then Real World Writing. This is by Evan Moore. I thought this would be fun. It's more project-based. It's more of a project-based way to teach your kids about writing. We only did about 3 projects in here, and then we just stopped. I don't know, we just weren't into it. My daughter didn't really care for it. So unfortunately, these 2 were a no. Next up is Math with Confidence for Math by Kate Snow. We really enjoyed this book. We've used it for 2 years now, and this is what the inside looks like. We've used the whole thing, and we played all the games, and we did all the pages. Overall, I think it's really well done. Kate Snow considers this a mastery approach to math. So you learn a concept before you move on. However, I also think it's a spiral concept, because the way she has it set up, you will learn a math concept, and then the front page of what you're doing is the new stuff that you've learned, and then the back page of every page you do is a review of things that you've learned previously. And so I did hear that some people don't think that Math with Confidence has enough review in it, but this book has over 252 pages. Now I've taken some pages out, so it does have more than 252 pages. If you go through this whole thing, and like I said, the front page, you're doing the new stuff, back sides, you're doing the review, and then at the end, there's like 2 units worth of reviews, and in the beginning, there's also 2 units of reviews to practice what you did the prior year, I feel like that's really enough review for your kid to learn all the concepts and practice all of their math facts. And so for my daughter, it's worked really well. Also, if you look at the instructor guide, every week you're doing 4 lessons, or you're doing 4 days worth of work, and then the 5th day is optional. But in every lesson, at the start of every lesson, you're doing a warm-up, and then you're going to do the activity. And the warm-up is like a review, a memory review, and you're also practicing things you've learned previously, and then the activity is your new stuff that you're learning. And so I think with all of these things, that's really plenty of review. But in the teacher's guide, as you go on, every so often, every so many units, Kate Snow has a page that says what your child should have learned and whether or not they're ready to continue on to the rest of the book. And so she says in the teacher's guide that if they're not ready to continue, then you have to go back and review some math facts and play the games over again. And so that also helps solidify the things that they've learned. Now, this is really a teacher-intensive curriculum. That's also something that I've heard a lot of people don't like. But, you have to know that going in, that you're going to have to spend a lot of time teaching your child by using manipulatives, math manipulatives like math cubes or playing cards, and you're going to be doing a lot of math games. Now, I didn't like all of the math games, but my daughter loved all of them, and so we sure played all of them. And the other thing that I've heard is that people don't like how it's scripted. So this is a scripted curriculum. You go through, you can read it verbatim what you need to tell your child, and as you can see, I have highlighted some things here. And so I don't go through, and when I teach a lesson, I don't speak it verbatim. I don't do the scripting, but what I do is I'll plan, every few weeks, I'll plan out a bunch of lessons and I highlight things that I think are important to note. So, and I, make sure I know the content. So then when it is time to teach my daughter that lesson, I'm not sitting there reading and then reading verbatim. And it takes a long time when you do it that way. And so I think that might be an issue that people run into that they don't like. I do feel like it can be kind of wordy and lengthy. As you can see, it's quite a thick book. But Kate Snow does that for a reason, so that everybody can use this book and teach their child. Overall, I do like this curriculum. It is very affordable. I think she does an excellent job of explaining not only why or how your child is learning, but she literally gives you a script to read. And there's different ways that she kind of shows you how your child can learn one concept, and I like that too. This has Montessori-ish type of learning in it. To me, I feel that way with the hands-on manipulatives, so that's something that I also like about it. Science, we used Carson DeLosa's interactive notebook, and that was for grade 3. Even though my daughter's in 2nd, we did use grade 3. It's a PDF, so that's why I don't have it here, but I have some sheets that I had printed out just to show you what it looks like. And then this is our science journal where we're gonna put all of the stuff from the Carson DeLosa book. So here's an example where we're learning about landforms. It has an introduction, it tells you how to make your notebook page in your journal, and then it has a reflection on learning where you discuss some additional things, and at the bottom it has like an answer key if you need the answer key. Now, I got this initially thinking that it was going to be really good. I thought it was right up our alley with journaling. However, even though I really like the layout and the themes in the journal, just doing the notebooking where you would read one or two of these pages and then do the notebook, it would be really boring if you just did that. And this, I feel, is more of a guide than a full curriculum. You have to add things to it. At least I did. I thought I did. So I added more experience, more information, more science books, and some things I just made up on my own. Like I made my own experiments and lab journaling and stuck it in here. So this is what the landform notebooking page would look like, and some of the things that we talk about. They do give you a few activities, maybe like one activity per unit that you're discussing with your child or children. But like I said, sometimes I felt like it was lacking, and really there was no experiments. It was maybe like an activity to do or something to think about. So anyhow, so I had to create my own science activity, science units, and this is just to show you what we talked about and kind of what our science journal ended up looking like. And so a lot of these, as you can see, are from the Carson DeLosa thing, and this is science lab sheet that I made myself, an experiment, and here's another one that I made myself. And so these are all the things we talked about. Overall, it was okay. And I think it was like $10, so it was okay. If you don't mind putting together your own units, it might be for you. We are not going to use it again for third grade just because I don't want to have to put together units for science and units for history again, because that's what I did in second grade. And in third grade, I'm going to be putting together our history as well, and it's just too much for me to do both. So instead, we're going to be using SCI curriculum. It's Scientific Connection Through Inquiry. That one's all laid out for you. It's scripted and it has experiments, which is what I was looking for. And then also for science, I brought this in more the second half of the school year. Found this on Amazon. It is more environmental type science, earth science type things, and I thought we were only going to work on the first part of the book, the earth science section, but we've actually worked through a bit more than that, and we really enjoyed this. Again, this is really supplementary, but what I think it's good for is a review. So if your child's already learned a lot of science facts and done a lot of science topics in kindergarten, first and second, this is nice to have as a review. We probably won't finish it, so we'll continue on with it in third grade. One other thing I wanted to mention was this National Geographic Kids sticker activity book. Don't sleep on these, guys. This is one of our favorite supplements. This one is specifically about rocks and minerals, so we use this also for one of our science units. My daughter absolutely loved it. I think it's great. They have lots of activities. For some kids, it might be too busy on the page, but my daughter really loved it, and I think all of the topics that they bring up regarding rocks and minerals, it was spot on, and it gave me great ideas for things to add to the unit as far as books from the library. They have other really fun sticker activity books, so this was definitely a yes. Okay, and then for history, we have the Big History Timeline sticker book. Yeah, this was a yes. My daughter really liked this. And so we went through this sticker timeline and we put down all the stickers of things that we had spoken of previously in earlier years. And as we were doing things this year, we would come back and stick stickers on it. My daughter really wanted to just stick all the stickers on it, but I was trying to tell her, like, we're gonna work through it as we're learning about these things in history. So we did put a lot of stickers on it. Some of the things we have not talked about, but you know, I let her stick them on there, but we still have a bunch of empty spaces that we're going to continue with for next year in 3rd grade. And I think this is just a nice reference to have to look back when it's all filled in and she can just look at the whole timeline. And we studied U.S. history this year, so we are using U.S. Facts and Fun by Evan Moore, and we're also using Core Knowledge. Core Knowledge is fine. It was a bit dry and boring, but we did use it for our U.S. history, and you know, it was all right. We got what we needed from it, and I was able to pull different worksheets for her. And then the U.S. Facts and Fun, it's not as good as I thought it would be. This is for grades 1 through 3, and it is by Evan Moore. It's not as good as I thought, but what I did like is that each section has a story, and the stories were really good. And then it has some other work pages in here. Some of this may be just like busy work because it's mazes or crossword puzzles, but it was okay, and it was a good add-in, again, if you're doing unit studies. And I was piecing our history together, so as a supplement to add in to what we were learning, I thought this was good. And it does have 44 different themes on history. So it has landmarks, a couple of states, important people, important times in history. So I thought that it was good in that respect. And we've done about half of the 44 themes. So it's going good. We're going to continue with this through May, and then we're going to switch things up for next year. And then finally, I think the last thing was typing.com. And so, did my daughter learn how to type? Yes, and I was pleasantly surprised at how well my daughter learned how to type. I wasn't sure what she was going to learn exactly from typing.com. I just had the hopes that she could like learn the home keys, and you know, that she would be pecking at the keyboard, but she's actually typing and she's using proper form, and I'm just really surprised and happy by that. And so we will continue with typing.com for 3rd grade, and it is free. And yeah, I would recommend it. My daughter likes it. Again, it's not her favorite. It's kind of like with cursive. She kind of likes it, but you know, she kind of doesn't. Typing.com does have little games that the kids can play, and she does like the word games, the typing games. So for her, I would say yes, it's a win. So that is the video. I hope that this helps you, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.